You're listening to A Slice of Canada. Slice of Canada on Radio Wigwam.
We are surrounded by a world of fascinating people who all share the same thing in common. And I have the pleasure of sharing their stories. I'm Wanda Ryan, and welcome to my show.
Walking down the street, I see it everywhere. Summer's already here, and we're feeling fine. Drive around in the vest with the top down, and turn the radio up, it's too up tonight. In the sun, sun in the summertime. These are the good times. In the sun in the summertime. Everything is so fine. We'll shine every day.
Welcome to That Wanda Ryan Show. I'm Wanda Ryan, and I have a very special guest here today. Halifax, Canadian native Jon Mullane is an award-winning singer-songwriter, innovator, and an advocate for the mental health. He released 5 successful albums and singles, including the latest 2023 EP, California, that features sun in the summertime, a very catchy and infectious coastal culture track of relevance with the times, and a very cool summer track, I must say, indeed. Jon's music was on the top 40 Billboard charts in Canada and featured in numerous television shows, commercials, and sporting events, including My American Girl, which is one of my favorite tracks as well. Jon Mullane is one of the most charismatic and humble human beings I had the pleasure to ride the waves with and work together on our musical journey. Thank you, Jon, for joining us, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Wanda. I'm really glad to be here.
We're all glad you're here. Let's start with your childhood. What were your favorite memories growing up, and who were the people that mentored and influenced you?
When I was very, very young, I was not a musical person. I was a sports person. And we've covered this before about the hockey playoffs going on now. My big things were hockey in the winter and tennis in the summertime. And I was not that great of a hockey player, a good ground hockey player, but quite a good tennis player. So it wasn't until about 12 years old, when I moved to a new neighborhood, there was this band that guys a bit older than me, and they had drums, guitars, bass, and it was so electric, and that inspired me so much to get into music. I didn't really have mentors or anyone saying to me, oh, you should do this, you should do that. It was kind of like a lot of it was self-directed, but it was drawn from the inspiration of the power of rock music, essentially.
Just curious though, during your high school days, we had Battle of the Bands and we had a subject called music, which was mandatory. Did you also have that in Halifax?
I remember the only school music that I participated in was choirs, which I hated. There was no modern or contemporary music, and that's why I think I wasn't onto it early until I say I was 12. Once I got into my own band, playing through high school and that sort of thing, that's all I thought about.
Let's talk about Make You Move and the Beijing Olympics.
Wow. A career goes up and down. Any career goes up and down, whatever level you're at. And I had some national attention. In the 90s, I even was interviewed in Much Music, when Much Music. I didn't have a lot of rotation on my videos, but I was, we were doing it, right? And then there was a lull. And then I had some hearing issues, with tinnitus and that sort of thing. Make You Move was a result of me coming back to my rock roots. And I recorded it as a single. I previously met with the music supervisors from NBC in Halifax. They were coming down for the film festival, and they were actually organizing meetings with musicians. They liked one of my songs called Go the Distance, but then when I sent them Make You Move, they really thought, we love this, we're going to use it in the commercials promoted in the Beijing Olympics. And when that happened, I'll tell you, that single thing, that elevated my profile immensely. Even though I'd released a few albums before that, I'd done some pretty big concerts, I'd been on the radio, all that stuff. That thing alone really elevated a lot, and I'm very grateful for that. So it's amazing how one thing can make a difference like that.
Absolutely. Born Beautiful. Tell us about that song.
That's I've told this story actually recently quite a bit because I've been on some songwriter circles, and that sort of inspiration from that song came from both my background and a Facebook friend. This person, who was a very pretty young girl, posted something like, "I wish I was not as pretty outside because I really want people to love me for who I am inside." And that really, really touched me. Someone who feels bad about what they look like, even though they look very nice on the outside. They just want that recognition of who they are inside. I combined that with my days when I was very young. I was kind of bullied, and that sort of thing, and had some anxiety issues and all that. So I felt like self-empowerment is kind of an important thing coming out of these types of things. So we were writing, myself and Creighton Doan, my producer, writer friend, we were writing music for my album Shine at that time. And so I used that inspiration to come up with that song. It's really touched a lot of people, in a very positive way. I'm very happy with that, very proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I listened to it 3 times in a row today, and every time I listen to it, it really touches my heart in so many ways, because we are all broken at certain times in our life, and things don't always go the way they should. And sometimes you do feel like you want to hide inside and crawl into a ball, and you just don't feel that you're good enough for whatever reason. Such an incredible and powerful song. Well done to that one, Jon. You've also partnered with some great organizations with Born Beautiful.
Correct.
And what were they?
When that song was released, I was basically living in the U.S. And so I partnered with the Canadian Mental Health Association, but there's another association in the U.S. called the Campaign to Change Direction. And they also have a sister association called Give Now. And that's for veterans who are in need of mental and emotional support. As a very progressive association, they put out basically an awareness campaign. So if you're having any issues, before it gets too bad and you get too down or too afraid, they have these warning signs, these things to look for. And I really like that idea of being proactive and having the conversation. When I was growing up, people almost didn't even know what a panic attack was, or people thought they were crazy. And just the fact that almost everyone has these issues at some point in their life at varying as degrees of severity. Having the conversation, I think, is so important, and this is what this association was initiating. So we did some work together. I actually performed at one of their events, and I met Pam Dauber. Remember Mork and Mindy?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, she's one of their partners. They have a number. Brian Wilson is one of their musical partners. Chris Stapleton. Believe me, I'm in very, very good company with that, and that was important for me.
Absolutely wonderful. And I've got the National Alliance of Mental Health and the Canadian Mental Health Associations as well. We're going to have those links to support all you wonderful, beautiful, shiny people out there. It's a real thing.
You wanna know why you were living a lie? It was so long ago. How could you know you were nobody's child? And all of your life, you don't even cry. Left out on your own, try to make it alone, but you wanted to fly. Don't wait all of your life. The only
I was watching Live Aid. What an amazing concert, and obviously for an extraordinary cause.
Yeah.
It brought back a lot of memories and reminded me of some iconic musicians that, unfortunately we lost Freddie Mercury. And I would say that based on that, I love Radio Gaga by Queen. It's such a summer, I don't know if it was written for summer, but it's a great summer tune.
Yeah.
And I love everything that the Cars do.
They had a song that was in the lyric, actually. Summer, 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 summer. Yeah, I remember that song.
Yes.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yes. And you just reminded me of Spirit in the Sky by Norman Greenbaum.
I like that song a lot.
I love that song.
That's one of the reasons I want to release the summer song when I did, because it feels like those types of songs, whether they're directly related to the summer or just released in the summer and have a nice, happy vibe, I feel like we're lacking those, And
yeah.
I feel they're important songs because everyone can relate and just maybe escape for a few minutes into this song.
To be a little bit happy. Moments of happiness, I always say.
It's very important.
My new favorite summer song is Jon Mullane's Sun in the Summertime. Fantastic track. This song was released in the summer last year of 2023.
Yep.
It's been duly noted. It's an infectious pop rock track relevant to the times, of course. It has that sensual, decadent flavor of summer sunshine love. Take us back on your experience of creating this new summer sensation, Jon.
I touched on it when I was very, very young and impressionable and listening to all kinds of music from different decades and everything. I always loved those summer songs. Poor and Beautiful is more representative of what I do musically. I'm going to go back and forth, heavier and lighter. That doesn't sound like a summer song at all. I needed to find a way to do what I want to do with the summer song and at the right time. So, as you know, we went through a pandemic and the music business, a lot of business just went away, or it just really, really was a bad time.
Yeah.
So I felt like I didn't really feel inspired to write music so much and what's going to be next. And I certainly didn't want to put anything too serious. I thought, well, maybe it's time, this is around 2022. I thought maybe it's time to kind of think about writing that summer song that I've always wanted to write. Combine all my influences with modern production. And I worked with a really talented songwriter named Jim Geltzer. He co-wrote the song with me, the lyrics, and we were working on this idea for a while. Came up with a demo in 2022, and I performed it live before anything recorded it, and it was very well. That was August of 2022. So I figured I'm going to hang on to it for the next year. We'll get it over the winter time and get it polished the way we want, and released it last year. And again, I lived in California, and I wanted to put something in a collection of songs that were related to California. And even though I wasn't living in California when I wrote this, it certainly reflects my experiences in California and the people I met. I mean, my guitar player, his father-in-law is Brian Wilson, Rob, down in California, Los Angeles. I mean, there's 6 degrees of separation here. He's a great artist. He's got great harmonies and stuff in his music. So I've been affected and influenced by all those things. Felt like it's time to release a happy, fun, upbeat summer song. Maybe people will connect with that. It's a little deeper than it really seems. It seems on the surface it's just very superficial and all that stuff, but there's a lot of hidden influences in there. There's a lot of messaging basically saying, come in here, escape for a while, and feel good. That's what it's all about.
I'm going to read a quote by you, which I thought was quite interesting.
Okay.
I've always aspired to write a summertime anthem when I was in my teens. It was a time where we always had a song of the summer on the radio that became a part of the fabric of our lives and life experiences, creating vivid images of surf, sand, and driving around.
I mean, how many people can relate to that, right?
Yeah.
It's just what it's all about.
So cool. I want to congratulate you, Jon, on the win for Best Male Artist in the recent California Music Video and Film Awards and Best Video. The video was directed by Martin Noel.
Correct.
I also read somewhere where the viewer's name, Sun in the Summertime, was also recognized as a salute to California's influenced music and performers. Wow.
Well,
it's a big deal.
That whole California Music Video and Film Awards, that's a really great organization. In fact, Born Beautiful won the Best Video Male Solo Artist back in 2018, there. So that's my second award there. And we were in San Francisco for that. But that's where they originated. They have this whole network, I guess you could say, and it's about, I think the show is called Music California, and they play music videos, and they evoke the California lifestyle. This show gets shown all over for PBS stations all over the U.S. It brings that California lifestyle into people's hearts, and I think everyone loved that. You know?
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. Sun in the Summertime will also be featured in a television movie called Love Unleashed, and it's a romantic comedy produced and directed by Peter Foley. And when is it set to air, John?
That's set to, I can't have an exact date, but it's in September of this year.
And where can we find it?
I believe it's going to go to the Amazon Prime, the Roku, all those platforms, direct to those. It'll be readily available to most people to watch.
There you go, folks. It's going to be on Netflix, Amazon Prime, Roku channel. Can't wait to see the movie and hear John's Sun in the Summertime song.
I'm looking forward to that.
I think it's appropriate to give a big shout out to Peter Foley, who is also a celebrated Canadian artist and a brilliant filmmaker. Peter is the one who introduced you and I, John.
Yes.
Again, I think it's always important to signify the connections and see how people and ideas are brought forth together, because I always say dream work makes the team work. I'm so grateful that he did connect us, and we are all still continuing to work together. You in the movie, Peter has a new song coming out. That's pretty awesome.
No, it is. It's amazing how, again, that's 6 degrees of separation. Peter's a great guy. Met him this past year. We've never met in person, actually. We've just met kind of, through the phone and online and chats. Peter's a really great guy, great artist, great songwriter, all that stuff, and very, very good movie director and producer as well. So glad that all our paths have kind of intertwined here.
Exactly. It's like the synergy. It just makes sense how the puzzle pieces are connecting.
Totally.
So what's next for you, John? What's next for you and your future endeavors?
Well, right now we're just getting ready for the relaunch of the summer single on the first day of summer, which is 21st or 20th and 20th. I'm going to be doing some concerts in Atlantic Canada. I'll be heading down to Los Angeles in a few months. I'm going to go to Nashville. I'm actually up for a few awards down there as well. There's something called the Josie Music Awards. I just found out I'm nominated for 3 awards, including the music video was nominated for one there as well. Connections in Nashville, I'll be doing some co-writing and maybe even performing down there and working on a couple of new songs. There's some projects out there that I'm really looking forward to.
Really awesome. I'm really looking forward to more. And just for all you beautiful people out there, you can also hear Jon Mullane's music on our Slice of Canada radio series, which airs on 2 different radio stations here in Canada and in the United Kingdom, and at Daily Lines of Courage Entertainment, where you will find a link below. Now, don't forget to support the artists and download their music at iTunes. Really, we need to support our independent artists because they give us so much love and they put in everything and sacrificed everything to be able to connect and unite us together in song. And subscribe to their Spotify channels. John, what if somebody wants to order a copy of your album, whether it's California or if it's singles? Where can we find it?
On my website, I have a link to my Bandcamp site.
Bandcamp.
Jon Mullane, www.jonmullane.com/Bandcamp. And almost all my albums are on there. You can order the hard copies very easily. I think we talked about this. If someone wanted a copy signed, they just have to write a note in the box there when they do the order, and I'll sign copies as well. So Bandcamp.
Wonderful. I'll definitely be ordering at least one from Mr. Mullane here. I mean, I'm having such a great time, but we're coming to the end. John, again, congratulations on your many achievements. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. It's been absolutely amazing.
It's been really fun, Wanda. I've really enjoyed this talk.
So we would love to have you back on the show again soon, maybe towards the Christmas season, because we can talk about your Christmas album.
Yeah, I'll probably be doing some Christmas shows as well at that time.
And we don't want to even think about Christmas, but of course it will come.
Right, it will. After the heat wave.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're going to end this show with John's signature summer anthem, Sun in the Summertime. So enjoy the show, and thank you for tuning in. Thanks again, John.
Thank you.
Walking down the street, I see it everywhere. Summer's already here, and we're feeling fine. Drive around in the vest with the top down and turn the radio up. It's 2 Up tonight. In the sun, sun in the summertime. These are the good times. In the sun in the summertime. Everything is so fine, fine, fine. We'll shine every day. Surf's up, way up. We're catching a wave. Lying on the beach in the sweet summer air. Sitting round the fire, singing hey, yeah, yeah. Everyone's having fun, living life without a care. In the sun in the summertime. These are the good times. In the sun in the summertime. Everything is so fine, fine, fine. We'll shine every day. Sun in the summertime. Everything is so fine, fine, fine. We'll shine every day. Sun in the summertime. These are the good times. In the sun in the summertime. And everything is so fine, fine, fine. We'll shine every day. Shine every day. Let it shine every day. We're gonna shine every day.
You're listening to A Slice of Canada. Slice of Canada on Radio Wigwam.
You guys rock!
I love this station.
Good day, fam. This is another episode of Live Life, Be Happy 24/7. You know, with me, the legend, as you know, baby. But I also go by the name of the man of the hour from that other show, A Slice of Canada. And you know what? It's about, you know, being authentic and being real. Since we talk about Canada, we're back in Canada at my other home. And, you know, like I said, amazing artists out of Canada who have graced the stage and done some really incredible things in our lifetime. What I like to do today is I'm invited a friend to the show. I call him, you know, like I said, my musical brother, Phenom. His name is Jeff Eager. Jeff, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good, Jonva. Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Welcome, man. Thank you, man. Like I said, it's been long awaiting. I know I've heard a lot of your music on our show, A Slice of Canada, and I was just like, you know, Wanda, you know, when we're going to get Jeff, and Wanda was the one that made this happen. So much love for my co-pilot, Wanda Ryan. She's amazing. Yeah. And like I said, you've been really doing some amazing things. But before we jump off to start the show, I wanted to say a big kudos and congratulations on your album release today, 2070.
Yes.
Congratulations. Just to let you know, I already listened to all the songs, so great stuff.
Oh, yeah? Thanks, man.
Oh, yeah, man. I'll play around, man. Yeah. Musical masterpiece, man. Great stuff.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
You've done an amazing job on that. When I do finally meet up with you, you know, which we are definitely, want to get the vinyl because I'm, you know, all about the vinyl. That's one of the
awesome. Yeah. This is my first time doing vinyl, so it's a new thing for me too. Yeah.
All right. Good. Well, as I always say to my guests, I'm going to take the audience seat, and we're going to just kind of sit back and hear about your journey and how everything kind of came full circle. And for us to learn about Jeff Eager and his journey. So, Jeff, you have the platform, and share it with audience who you are, man, and what you're doing.
Yeah, the journey. Well, everyone's got their own journey. For me, I was always really into music as a kid and learning lots of instruments. I grew up in Calgary, Alberta. I was playing piano and guitar and bass and singing when I was a teenager. I wasn't athletic, so music became like an identity for me. I grew up, in the 90s, but I was listening to music from the 60s and 70s and 80s. Okay. So it's funny that, people say that the music from when you were a teenager really defines you, like that's the most meaningful music to you. Mm-hmm. But the music when I was a teenager was Sgt. Pepper's, Beatles.
Nice.
Like, Queen albums. Like that's what I associate with my youth, even though it's like 20 years later. Right? Yeah. That came out. So yeah, at some point I decided I was going to make the move to Toronto after I finished school in Calgary, and thought I'll give this music career a shot. Whatever that means. I did like the one-way ticket thing and came to Toronto, and that was almost 20 years ago.
Nice.
So I guess it worked out.
It paid off.
Yeah.
You're doing some really incredible things, seeing on social media. And what I like about your music, it's authentic. It's real. It kind of represents you. So when I sit back and I'm listening to Jeff Eager playing, Jeff Eager song, it's very distinctive. So like I said, I know it took time for that.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying so. So this is my second album. I did an album like 8 years ago, which was a great first attempt. But the big difference with this is exactly what you're saying. I thought I'm an independent artist, so I'm not signed to any label. I don't have management. I've always run my own career, right. And if I'm going to put all this of my own money into it, because making an album is expensive, and all this time into it, I wanted to make the exact record that I wanted to make, the music I wanted to make, and not worry about, well, how would this chart, or how would this, maybe this song's too long, or maybe this is none of that. I just thought, if I'm going to do this, I need to be all in, and I need to sit back at the end and go, I love all these songs.
Yeah.
I love them, as much as the covers that I play, and that was a big thing too. I make my living playing covers. Okay. And I have for 17 years, in the bar scene and the corporate scene and the wedding scene. As a working musician, you play a lot of covers. And I do play my favorite covers. I tend to play my favorite music, and I don't really play stuff that I don't care for too much. Right. But I realized that I want to have original music that I enjoy just as much.
Totally agree.
If I'm playing The Way You Make Me Feel, Michael Jackson, if I'm playing a Prince song, if I'm playing, I love Billy Joel. I want to have originals that make me feel just as good on stage as when I play those covers. So that really was the challenge with this album. Can I write music that makes me feel as good on stage as these covers, which I love so much? Yeah.
And speak about the album, Jeff. Tell me about the inspiration that was the motivation around this project.
Yeah, this was interesting. So I obviously, like I said, I wanted to make songs that I could fall in love with. Right. But the motivation for the album, I couldn't at this point pursue fame and fortune. That wasn't really a noble, thing to say, oh, I hope this album blows up and I hope that I become famous, right. Anything like that. Not at this age, anymore. Right. I'm also a husband and father. I have 3 daughters. Oh. And so I thought, okay, I need motivation to do this project, because it's going to be 2 or 3 years since you start demoing it to when it's done. Right. And I started to think about my kids, and if they will take an interest in this when they're older, because they kind of like it now, but again, they're doing their own thing. They got their own lives. They're like, they don't really know some of the stuff that I do when I'm not at home. They don't fully get what I do, maybe as a job.
That seems to be the norm with kids nowadays. I'm the same way too. They don't know. They're just like, hey, Dad.
Well, we have strange jobs though, don't we, Jonva? Yeah. It's not like Dad's the mailman. Dad's a firefighter. Yeah. Dad's a baker, whatever. Jobs you read about when you were like reading children's books.
Yeah.
You know, Dad plays guitar for a living. No, so this was, you know, so I started to write these songs thinking, okay, I'm going to write these for now that maybe when the kids are older and I'm very old, or when I'm gone, they're going to dig into this a little more and realize that I have written this album and put a whole bunch of Easter eggs and nuggets and things for them to find. It's really like a window into what's going on in my world and my life right now. And I hope other people resonate with that. The themes are quite universal. But so the album's called 2070 because I'm imagining a year in the future where the kids could dig into this. Now I could have picked any year, but 2070 happened to rhyme with a lyric in a song. There's a song on the album called Audience of 3 in 2070. And that really is like the North Star of the album. This is for an audience of 3 in 2070. And that kept me going on it. That's like, okay, I'm going to do this album. I'm going to put everything into it. I'm going to do it to a very high standard. I'm not going to cut any corners and make something to be proud of. And even if today it makes a tiny little splash, maybe later, you know, way down the line, the kids will pull it out and be like, hey, everyone, look what my old dad did years ago, decades ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good approach. I'm like you. I always say, you know, Billboard is great, but I'm about the hardboard. So I see the similarities in us because I could, before you told me the names of, you know, some of these artists, I already knew, I could hear it, you know, and I was just like, you know what, Jeff's got this unique stuff. And every time I get one of your songs and where I'm making the playlist, I said, don't worry about it. I'll make it work. And I listen to it and I see it. And like I said, you know, I'm just like you. We would write songs that we weren't worried about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. We just write the song and where it lands, you know?
I think, there's an interesting kind of approach I took. I look at some of the stuff like that Quincy and Michael Jackson do, right? And you look at these songs from Thriller, and there's so many videos now, and now you can actually get the tracks all separated out, right? Like with technology now, you can go really deep into this. Greg Fillinganes, the keyboard player, you know, that did all of MJ's stuff, he does videos on like, here's the synth patch we used, and here's the, you know, so you have access to all that, and you realize how complicated these songs were, like the arrangements, like they're really analyzing every little thing. And then when it's all put together, it's accessible to a big audience, and it's simple, and it just grooves.
Right.
So I put a lot into these songs, but in the end, the litmus test was, does this just groove? Does this just feel good? Because I didn't want to make complex songs.
Right.
I didn't want it to be like, wow, this is a little heady, or this is a little, I get it, this is for jazz musicians or something. I'm not a jazz musician, but I wanted to make stuff that put a lot into it, and then the listener can sit back and go, this just grooves. This just feels good. This feels funky. I want to get up and dance. I really like this. So it works on the simple level, and I think that's a good balance to strike.
Yeah, you've definitely decoded that, because my professor at Berkeley, Prince Charles Alexander, you probably know him. He produced Beyonce, Sting, Diddy, and them. He always said to me, keep it simple. Keep it simple. And that's the key, because if somebody, an audience is listening to your arrangement, whether it be a wedding, whatever, and they want to sing along, or even probably get on the piano or some instrument and play, they want to play something that, you know, that they can gravitate to. It's going to be in its simplest form. And that's the art of being a master at what you do. And you got that. I checked you out, man. I was like, yeah, this guy is arranging. Well,
and it's hooks, you know. I the other thing I did with this album that maybe I didn't do as much in my first album was, rather than, I was never just comping parts. If I was coming up with a guitar part, I was writing another hook. So you already had a vocal hook. You already had some other hook going on. You know, a bass line is like, rather than just comp along, it's like, let's have a line that in itself you could go, wow, that's an earworm. Like, that is catchy by itself. The string lines, the horn lines, like, it's just all really hooky. You could take out every one, and it kind of stands alone as a catchy melody. That was my goal, anyway.
Nice. Well, as you're
Yeah.
talking to me about your process, I envision Jeff Eager having a master class. So put that on the to-do list one day. Seriously, when I put things out there, like I said, because
Yeah.
you got a good writing process, and a lot of these young folks, they need to, like I said, acclimate themselves with what was being done before to incorporate, because it's all a cycle. It's a cycle. But sometimes they kind of overthink it, overdo it, where you don't have to reinvent the wheel when it's right there in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My next question is, I was checking out your Instagram, and I kind of was checking out some of your performances. And as I was checking out one of your performances, and I saw you on stage, you were like just doing your thing, bringing your smoke on the guitar. And I kind of looked to the side, and I saw that you had another singer next to you bringing their heat too. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to have to ask you, like, how's this Lenny Kravitz collaboration thing going on there? What's going on? And I know there was a happy birthday, but I was just watching the energy and the collaboration. I'm like, how did that happen?
Yeah, that was just an amazing experience from quite a few years back now.
Yeah.
I was able to be on stage with Lenny a couple times, actually. Once this one back here.
Yeah, that was the one.
And there's Lenny smiling at the drum kit there. He's probably my biggest influence, to be honest with you. That's one of the 90s artists that I was really into, because Lenny Kravitz was rock and roll, and I love rock and roll, and he was also like soul and R&B and funk. Yeah. And I found him to be the perfect blend, and so I've always really identified with what Lenny was doing in the 90s with those first 5 albums. So he was always kind of my hero. Yeah. But I mean, long story short, he was here playing an event in Toronto. It wasn't a public event. It was something else. And I was there doing another part of the night. And I ended out holding up a sign, doing the audience side. And at the time I fronted a Lenny Kravitz tribute band in Toronto. Oh. And I said, hey, I front an LK tribute band. Can I come and jam with you? And Lenny, he pulled me on stage, and he gave me his guitar, the Flying V, and we went into Are You Gonna Go My Way? I didn't really know what we were gonna do. I was like, okay, but I'm ready to go. I was thinking, I've played this song 1,000 times. I know it inside and out. And so has this band. You guys also know this song quite well. So I'm like, this should go really well. Right. And it did, and it was a real experience. And then a couple of years later, he was in Toronto at a full public concert, and we got to the front, and I again just said, hey, can I jam with you again? And he pulled me up a second time to do that. So I got to meet him that time and shake his hand and say hi. And but just, I mean, yeah, that was just one of those. It was sort of a chance experience, obviously. Like it was a sign in an audience. But what a thing to take with me, for the rest of my life.
Well, yeah, I was watching and listening, and you didn't miss a beat. So, like I said, I know you're like me. You're always on, ready to go, a true professional. And I could tell because I listened. Yeah, and you would have never known that that's how it happened. But like I said, you guys were making magic. So, kudos to you on that. Now, I see you have a lot of things in flow with the album. So what's on the horizon with the new album and everything else that you got going on?
So, my big goal was really just to get to this finish line, was getting this album done. We are doing one big album release show in Burlington, Ontario, and that's on Thursday, July 20th. And it's at a place called B-Town Sound, which is a very well-known studio in Burlington where we recorded the bed tracks for the album, which is kind of cool. So we're going back to the space where we started making this album. And they're also like an event space, so we're going to do that. As far as other dates, as an independent artist and in like a country the size of Canada, it is tough to travel. It's tough to make it lucrative or even break even traveling and touring. Right. So I basically just leverage the opportunities that I have in front of me. So, I mean, if you go to jeffeagermusic.com or just follow me, on Instagram, whatever, I'll post where the shows are. So we have some shows just throughout the summer in some different places around Ontario. And then I continue to play, cover gigs at a few local spots as well, which I'm always happy to bring records with me, play an original song and promote it. I think these days it's the music career is do everything you can and make it work for you.
Exactly.
It's not like planning a massive tour
No.
through North America with a 8-piece band. Like, that's not gonna happen. So
You know,
yeah, so you
and
do
that's it.
what you can, you know.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I also want to ask, with the global pandemic that we all kind of went through, how did you keep yourself, you know, in tune with what you're doing and just navigating through that whole period of uncertainty?
For me, it flipped to the kids, really. Like, I kind of didn't really think or about what was happening with music so much. It just obviously live music stopped, and but the kids' school also stopped and everything. So, you know, my concern was really for them.
Mhm.
I jumped into like this, you know, full-time stay-at-home dad mode. Also, they were doing the online school thing, which, I mean, that didn't work. That was
Right.
that was rough all around for everyone. And I think looking back, that might have been not the way to go. But anyway, yeah, getting the kids through those tough times and trying to stay positive. It was tough. It got tough as the years went on,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
During that time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the cool thing, though, you know, being someone who I play in bands and I back up other artists, but I do a lot of solo acoustic stuff.
Wow.
And I give this advice to a lot of musicians starting out. You know, if they say, how can I just get going making a living in music or starting to play? And I tell them, have a solo show. You know, just be able to accompany yourself and sing and have 3 sets of some music together. And you can always work, because there's tons of places that just want solo musicians and far fewer places that are hiring a 4-piece band or a 5-piece band. So with the pandemic, when things started to trickle in again, when people wanted music, even at like a wedding or anything, they were calling small groups and solo first. Right? So I was working kind of throughout the pandemic. I was doing some online things. And when we could do live again, it was a lot of, we can just have you solo. We can't have a 5-piece band.
Right.
So that really worked in my favor. And that would be advice I would give to, you know, to any musician. If you just want to get 10,000 hours on a microphone in front of people,
Mhm.
you know, if you can do 3 sets by yourself of your favorite covers, and if you have wheels to get around, just go start logging those hours and get on a microphone in front of people.
Well, very good, very good, and thank you for sharing that. It's very, very enlightening, for our audience who's listening to us today. You know, with that said and done, we're a huge supporter of our guests, whoever comes on the show, and you know, being that we have that global family that's really here to just jump on anything that that I put out there. Again, we want to know. I know you mentioned Instagram. Are there any other places that we can find you, support you? To kind of be tapped in with Jeff Eager. So when you drop your stuff, we're right there for you.
Yeah. For me, like social media, Instagram is what I use the most, and YouTube as well. You know, I've built a YouTube channel over the past decade. So I try to keep, great, like more long form content on YouTube. So that's just youtube.com/Jeff Eager.
Okay.
The Instagram account is Alter Eager. So Alter Eager.
Okay.
And I tend to post the most on there, to be honest with you. It's just, I do have a TikTok as well, but I feel like it's not really, not really my thing. And then this Threads thing started, and I thought, oh, Threads, am I going to do Threads? I don't know. Jonva, I'm kind of tired of all the places to have to post things.
I know.
So
it's just
Instagram and YouTube is the big one for me. And JeffEagerMusic.com. You can send me a message if you want, or send me a message on Instagram. Like I always reply, and I love hearing from people. So
that's good, my friend.
Yeah.
As we come to a close, I always like our guests to share a quote that will inspire our listeners, because, these quotes, typically they'll, help navigate, a creative's journey and also inspire them in achieving their dream. And I've seen this over and over. So as you kind of think and ponder on what you want to deliver, like I said, I'm ready, we're ready, and just deliver.
Yeah, that's a big question. I'm going to, everything is taken from a teacher, right? And I have a kind of a musical guru in my life who also happens to be one of my best friends and the drummer on this album. His name's Adam Bowman, and he's a great drummer, musician, great friend. He's the godfather of one of my kids. I was the best man at his wedding. And all that aside, he is somebody that I've learned so much from in the last 6 or 7 years in playing together. But as I quote him on this, or give you this little tidbit, he would tell you he got it from someone else too. So always with humility, saying these are ideas that are just being passed down. And he said, you know, I remember sitting with him about 5 years ago at a gig, and it changed my vision on not seeing music or performances as good or bad. Oh, that was a bad performance, or that was a good performance, or they're really good or they're really bad, or that song's good or that song's bad. He said, replace the word good with care. Mm-hmm. Take more care. If you're writing a song, how much care are you putting into the song? If you're playing a song, if you're playing with a band, are the people on stage serving the song and putting more care, or is it less care, as in like it's sort of throwaway? And that stuck with me. So I stopped thinking in terms so much of good and bad and started thinking of putting care into everything I do, and intention. Everything I write, I try to be very intentional. And every time I step to a microphone and sing a line of a song, I try to remember I'm doing this with intention. I never want it to be muscle memory, you know, just sort of phoning it in. Right. Especially playing cover gigs for a living, and some songs I've played 3 nights a week for 15 years. I never want to be kind of just zoning out and going through the motions. So intention, be intentional, and care. Take great care of the art you're creating.
Well, Jeff, thank you for that. And like I said, that was words of gold, because like I said, these are some interesting times, and you know, our next generation of creatives can really use that extra push to kind of let them know, you know what, this is gonna help you navigate through your journey as well. You know, I never say goodbye. I always say until our next encounter again. We always like to bring our guests back to see what's going. But I'm going to see you anyway, because you know you keep giving us some more things for Slice of Canada. Like I said, you know, it's great to have your stuff, man. Just to keep that machine going, because you know the folks over there, like I said, you know, over in Europe, you know, they're digging it too as well. And we've just been, you know, very blessed to have that opportunity, and so many things ahead. So. Again, you know, kudos to what you're doing. Congratulations on the new album as well. And like I said, until again, and have a great week, and blessings to you and your family, brother. All right?
Jonva, thank you so much, man. Thanks for the support. I really appreciate it, man. You're a gem. Thank you.
Turn up the volume. Ride the waves. And transcend with the music.
Transcend with the music.
My head to the groove. I used to get up on the floor, I used to imitate all those MJ moves. But as the time went by, what happened to the boy who didn't care? The weight of the world got tucked into his shoes and held him there. Oh, you try to get me up, but it's just not in me. See, I used to loosen up down to concern with myself. And what has it done? What happened to free? What happened to fun? I don't need to let you down, 'cause I know you love me. I can see you take the sound. Go on, you can try to get me up, but I just the whole world spin. But for now you can try to get me up, but it's just not in me. See, I used to loosen up, now I'm too concerned with myself and what isn't done. What happened to free? What happened to fun? I don't mean to let you down, cause I know you love me. I can see you think the same. Go on, you can try to get me up, but I just might let you down. You can try to get me up, but I just might let you down. Come on. Ah, yeah. Oh, you can try to get me up, it's just not in me. See, I used to loosen up, now I'm too concerned with myself and what isn't done. What happened to free? What happened to carefree fun? I don't mean to let you down, know you love me. I can see you dig the sound. Go on, you can try to get me up, but I just might let you down. You can try to get me up, but I just might let you down. Yeah. Oh, you can try to get me up, but I just might let you down. Oh, you can try to get me up.
Love our audiences sharing a slice with us every show. I just want to say thank you to our UK friends at Radio Wigwam. Thank you, Jonva. Thank you to all the amazing artists for allowing us to shine and share their music internationally. And what more is there to say except stay tuned for another slice
of Canada.
Coming up next is Wigwam's Indie Invasion.
It's my kind of music.
I get the best mix of my favorite music.
All on one radio station.
More than a slice of pizza, it's a slice of Canada.
So you mean pride.
gets high on you, and the space he invades, he gets by.